Hello, welcome to Race Brain Podcast. My name is Rich Ryan. I'm your host. Joining me today, as always, Bracken Crocker and Jack Bauer. We are in the basement, the cellar of the season. We are just scraping by with topics, but we got some good stuff coming for you today. We got a Q&A. I'm calling this episode People Always Ask Me episode, because whenever people online, they're like, people always ask me XYZ, and like no one's asking them that, and they're just like teeing themselves up for a question. Yeah, it's like,
what's the minimum to count as people? Is it 2?
A lot of people ask me. I was between that People Always Ask Me episode and the TRP episode, but we're calling it the People Always Ask Me episode.
Yeah, all right. TRP is accurate.
You just made a statement on a lot of people, like we're just making up numbers and stuff. I have probably the most made up number of all time that I witnessed. I went to Texas Roadhouse.
I read your entire novella this weekend, Jack.
It's ridiculous.
Wait, what?
Okay. So I was like, I have to break this down numerically. I went into Texas Roadhouse. Bracken, you know the answer. You can't play.
They have peanuts on the floor there?
Sometimes, but I didn't get it.
Allergies.
But you know those, you've been to Texas Roadhouse.
That's the
they
place,
give you the rolls.
Yes.
They give you the rolls.
Rolls are delicious. Love them.
Don't bring your new shoes there because you're crunching on peanuts and stuff. But anyway, those rolls, legendary. There was a plaque that said Sophia something, like best roll maker of all time. She has made blank rolls since 2008. How many do you think she has made? They claim, and this is right as you walk in the store. They're like representing her.
2008. It's a long time ago.
It's about 15 years.
A million.
They claim 30 million. I'm
30
like,
million
there's
rolls.
no possible way 30 million rolls. And I did the math and I was like, let's say that she has never taken a bathroom break. She's never taken a single minute off of work. And she has worked every single day since the beginning of 2008. She would have had to have averaged something like 5,200 rolls per shift every single day. And I looked at, no, it's not. I looked at the
big old pans.
I looked at the sheets. Yes. And they have 16 each on it. It was a 4x4. And she would have to do 40 of those per hour. So she's got a minute and a half to put those in, put them out, cut them up, paint them, separate them. It is impossible. There's no way. And I was just bothered because
Did you bring this to?
I'm gonna next time
HQ?
I go there.
So I have one follow-up question, which may lead to another. You saw the sheet, but did you see the size of the industrial device that bakes them? Does it have like a 12 slot?
Maybe she. Oh yeah, good question. I'll follow up.
Like a Subway type bread
I
oven.
I worked at Quiznos before. I know how bread operates when you cook it and stuff. And I get it. They have like the different levels and stuff.
I'm saying, could there be a dozen racks going at once?
Probably, but I don't think that's. You have to still cut them up, paint them, separate them. And there's one person.
I don't know if she has to.
Maybe that's a different job. Maybe she's just baking them.
She might solely be the assembly line. Tray in, tray out. Hit the bell. You're on it. Because if you think if they're operating at capacity, how many tables do you think they have going? 50?
Man, I'm sure there's some server listening who knows the actual numbers. But yeah, I'd say there were probably 50 tables. Yeah, that's a ton.
Okay, let's have that. Let's say there's only 25 tables. How many rolls do you get per table? Do you start with 8?
You start with a basket of 4 and you can get unlimited. And I asked them and they said that the record at that restaurant was 33 baskets that they brought for a group of 4 teenagers who basically wanted to get a stomach ache.
Let's go.
But I mean, that's 250 per seating. If everyone has 10 based off of 25 tables at capacity, 250 per seating, you got to figure what? One every 45 to 60 minutes. A shift's 8 hours. 250 times 8.
It's 2,000.
2,000. How many would she have to make a day?
Is it 50, 5,200?
If she never took a break, if she does a 40-hour shift, she has to make like 7,300. I think they added an extra.
Yeah, so I'm on your side. I'm not seeing it add
no possible. I believe 3 million. That's what I was like. Okay, she's been doing that 15 years. That's reason. I guess it's reasonable, but 30 million. Come on, don't lie to us. We'll call you out just like I call out the CrossFit Games and their 5K.
She is the Hinshaw of the sweet roll industry, and everyone knows it now.
I'm not discrediting her. She's probably the GOAT of all. Like if you're making bread for 15, 16 years in a row, you're probably pretty good at it. But the person who made the sign is a liar.
Speaking of unbelievable numbers. Hyrox Maastricht this weekend. First race of the season.
Great transition.
Segues perfect into. We saw some incredible times out there in Maastricht, which is generally a faster course. It's been the European Championships the previous 2 seasons. I was curious about if they had if the new equipment was out there yet. Center, I believe it's called. And they're not looking to roll that out until London, which I can look that up really fast.
So these weren't the new sleds.
These were not the new sleds. So
and these were debuts for some of these men.
Yeah.
No.
So no, of the season.
Well, of the year, but
like we haven't seen.
Like we've seen their track record, season debut.
That's not true.
Which part's not true?
These athletes have all raced recently.
Storath raced recently in singles?
Yeah.
Singles?
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought he did doubles.
And same. So we're going through it. He has done some doubles. On the men's side, Thomas Tvrdik, show favorite out here.
Is he your favorite name to pronounce?
I mean, I don't always nail it. Like that wasn't a good one, but I do like.
Yeah.
I do like him.
You get it.
I do like the name. 56-21 for Tomas. Lucas Storath, the legend. 56-49 major PR. Afrin Humphreys 57-36. Tobias Lautvin was 58 flat. Jeffrey Voisin 58-24. And then Sebastian Iverson was 59-52. That kind of rounds it out. So this course,
those make sense, except for the first 2.
Tobias's makes sense, but Tobias getting beat by these athletes doesn't make sense. I think that was just like an off day from him. And Joffrey has not been to the same form that he has been in. Okay. So just laying it out there. No offense to any athletes in this.
Time to piss off Europe.
We're just simply taking the information that we see and then referring back to information that we knew previously and just looking at these times. So Thomas Tvrdik and Lucas, they both ran in Frankfurt, which was just a couple of weeks ago.
How did that fly under my radar? I didn't see that Lucas raced.
Because he got like 7th.
Is that what it was?
Oh.
Yeah, because he raced and he finished that race in 62-15.
Rust buster.
Just busting that rust. And he's like, you know what? Next, 6 minutes better.
Yeah.
I decided that I wanted to run 6 minutes better, and I just did it. Mind over matter. And Tomas was in that same race. He finished 4th. Behind Tobias, behind Aitor Lazaro, behind Mark Dean in a 60-19. Afrin Humphreys ran in Barcelona, which I think was the same week as Dallas. So 7 weeks ago or so. And he ran, let me see where he was. He finished 12th in that race and finished in 63-52. And then improved to a 57-36.
I'm trying to find precedent for.
It's an improvement
because I don't want to attack athletes because they've done nothing wrong.
It's nothing.
All they did was run the time.
They showed up.
Yeah. So this isn't on them. So I'm trying to find precedent for time change like this in endurance sports, and the only thing I can point to is a marathon. Marathon is the only thing that you can have minutes of swing one way or the other, but it doesn't happen in a 3-week turnaround unless you DNF. And because all of us know. 3 to 4 weeks cannot change your fitness noticeably. All you can do in 3 to 4 weeks are sharpen up or rest up. You really can't make it more than like a half notch of a fitness change in 3 weeks. 4 weeks is just about enough time that you can be a slightly different athlete. If you had a big deficiency, like you could go in
coming back from an injury or
super
something.
Sick, not even an injury. Because you have to be fit, have to have trained.
But it's mostly
fit.
That's true. Yep.
It's mostly you can rest up or recover or sharpen. Like that's about it that you can do in 3 to 4 weeks, other than high intensity work. If you did 100-mile weeks for 12 weeks and then ran a mile and then had 3 to 4 weeks to sharpen up and ran another one, you could have a completely different result. But in a 60-minute race, I don't see much work you can do in a month other than skill or sharpen or rest. So all that's left, if it's not one of those things, is something funky.
And it sounded like a lot of those names were in the same race as each other not too long ago. So it's not like they were soloing this. you had competition. You had a lot of very fit people there. So everybody doing better. It's just a reflection on Hyrox and their layout.
Can you pull Lucas up from the last two performances, and can we look at side-by-side examples of his splits and zones just to see where this time came from?
Sure thing. We'll talk about women really fast. Jennifer Nicholas finished in first. She was 64.01. Jezebel Kramer was 64.14, and Rebecca Nather was 64.18. Both Jezebel and Rebecca were 67 highs in the last like 3 or 4 weeks as well.
But isn't Jezebel like the most unlucky person in terms of that top 50? She's either 1 second behind, tied to get into the elite, and I think she's like 16th now.
She found this.
She'll get in now.
She's, I think. I don't know. She might get on a roll.
I think she's just out, but someone probably will back out.
The and with someone like her who races a ton to see like a 3-minute drop, it just shows like.
Well, and both. I mean, there are some numbers for athletes that do matter, and age is one of them. Lucas and Jezebel are not getting younger. They're the two oldest in their divisions outside of one extreme outlier. On the female side, they're like one 52-year-old woman who's just like my idol in life. Yeah. But outside of her, Lucas is the oldest, and I don't think it's close. What is he, 43 now?
Jeffrey Boisson.
Boisson's up there.
He's also, yeah.
Joffrey and Tom Hogan's
like
also
42.
in that 40-somethings.
But what is Storath?
His actual...
when he won Worlds, I thought he was like 37, 38.
I thought he was older than that. I think he's in his 40s.
Yeah, I think he's young 40s, like 41.
Anyway, point is, old man strength has already kicked in, and it doesn't include speed.
I think
so you just don't see minutes drop in your 40s.
I think Frankfurt was the same weekend as LA, which was December at some point, right? Had to be. It's like.
Do you want to know what I just did? I just Googled Lucas Storath age. What do you think the first thing to pop up was?
His age?
Meg Jacoby's Instagram.
Nice. Meg's on that.
SEO is
SEO, baby.
Yeah, she's got it.
SEO. I'm pulling these up right now. Looking at these, a couple of word, like just some word over there that the rock zone was a little bit funny, and it seems like this had the gold standard of short run, short rock zone. Unbelievable. Love that when you can get that opportunity to get both of those things. Generally, they're pretty good at having it be rock zone short, runs are long, runs are short, rock zone's long. But here, not the case. Maastricht's over here on the left, Frankfurt on the right. So it looked like the first.
These are the calmest run splits I've ever seen from him.
Yeah. He didn't go out in like 3:08.
First run was long in Maastricht, it appears.
Yeah.
Was everybody else like 4+ or?
I don't know, just based off of the other run splits, like you went.
Those are very consistent.
To 3:30.
Yeah. And it looks like number 8 was a little long, which usually tends to be the case.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
His wall balls came down to earth for the first time ever.
Yeah.
Was he usually struggle?
No. He's one of the I can go unbroken guys.
Oh, he didn't do it in Frankfurt. He surely.
I don't think he did.
Surely wasn't.
That's what I'm saying. His time came back down to earth here. When I heard that those two entered wall balls at the same time, I thought he would have won. And he lost 20 seconds on wall balls.
So these stations
did 5:16 in Frankfurt and then 4:03. That's just a little specificity, I imagine.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's just like the runs are fast, and the rock zone here was 4 minutes in Frankfurt, and in Maastricht it was 2:44, and the running was faster. So it could be like, I'm just that more fit, which I'm sure he is more fit. To be taking off chunks of time on each run, and the sleds. No, the sleds weren't that much faster. The sled
3:34 run after the row. 3:47 after farmers.
Huh. That seems strange.
3:34 after.
Unless he was just dying. He must have just been dying. Or that run, or they had that in a different spot. Maybe the layout of the course was just something that we haven't seen. Maybe they've been playing around with the efficiencies of the course, like that did in Stockholm, having certain things in certain places for like, because Stockholm,
right in, right out.
Yeah, because I believe Stockholm was 2 minutes faster than the courses that we've seen, but not because it was mismeasured or the sleds were anything crazy. It was just like a big run course, easy turns. It was just very efficient. So I think that's what led to fast times, where typically there's like less than ideal courses.
Because they had like the half length removed on the how far you needed to go to reach the farmer's carry and stuff, right?
Farmers was probably 30 seconds for sure, but then there's two loops and just track like turns there. Just an efficient course. Maybe this was efficient that way, but this course could be like legit 5 minutes fast. Like 5 minutes fast.
Well, that would put Toby at a 103.
Yeah. I mean,
Lucas is the former world champ
who just ran 62. He's in his 40s.
I know.
Like 5 is probably obviously the high end, but 4, I don't think that's crazy.
I think it's crazy.
I think it's a little excessive.
These dudes took off like 7 minutes of time in 3 weeks.
Yeah, but look where he took his chunks. So he took his chunks on sled pull and wall balls. He took 3 minutes plus right there.
Sled pull must have been something funny too, because these are all very, very fast.
Not 4:37 at 3:18, so almost a minute 19 faster. That's a chunk.
Yeah,
and like then wall balls everybody was fast. Everybody was fast on sled pull. Also, I remember I posted that graphic, and it's like, yeah, Toby was 3:05. Lucas 3:18, Tomas 3:18. You just had a lot of really good times in that poll. Meanwhile, at Worlds last year, you had one person or 2 people under 3:30, and like basically everybody was at this race.
But then run total being faster and rock zone being faster.
So that's the only place that I could be sketchy, but like his burpee broad jumps got quicker, his farmer's carry got quicker, his lunges got quicker, his push got quicker, his pull got quicker, his row got quicker. Like he went quick a little bit to a medium bit quicker in everything. And then he took 4 chunks, which were pull, wall ball, run, rock zone. And the sled, the run, and the rock zone are the only funky things ever.
The run was 28 seconds. If you divide that by 8, you're looking at like 3 to 4 seconds. That's 1 to 2 seconds.
That's improvement you can make in a month.
That's realistic for sure.
Yeah.
What with the minute and 15 on the rock zone?
Yeah. So then rock zone and sled are the only 2 funky things, which means I don't think it can be 5 minutes.
No, that's too much.
What was Toby's? What were his highest and lowest points last year time wise?
They weren't crazy. He didn't rip anything last year. Like I think he was 50. He's been 58s for about 2 years now.
Mm-hmm.
So like it's within what Toby typically runs, but getting beat by guys who doesn't typically get beat by. I'm sure this is the first time Tomas has beat him. Like Tomas ripped this row. Look at this row. What a monster he is. 346 with transitions on that.
With transitions, that's nasty.
That's crazy.
And that's the thing, right? Transitions can play into this. If they optimize it, it's like a Deka mile.
That's something we can't see. Right. Like if it's in and out right away, or like they're real short zones or whatever. It probably weren't. I'd imagine this is a pretty big venue. But same deal here. His run was 30 seconds faster, and then his rock zone was also a minute and 10 seconds faster. Mm-hmm. So like where in 3 weeks he improved his run time by 2+ minutes.
No, and I think we're all agreeing the run, the rock zone, and the sled can be fudged. Everything else is either transition or accurate.
Yeah, like these zones are really solid. Like his wall balls are great. You can't do anything. You can't really change that. His sandbag lunges are good. Farmers is really fast. Row is really fast. Burpee broad jumps are normal. Sled pull is fast. Sled push is fast. Ski is normal.
I mean, he's between 2nd and 5th best on everything except for sled push, and he really didn't struggle on that. 2.5 minutes, 2:29.
Yeah,
like he was just a monster on the machines.
Like, are you guys hearing a car horn? I want to know how good this mic is. Did you hear that at all?
Nothing. Shit is mine.
Bang.
So I don't want to dwell on this too much, but I think that this is certainly just Hyrox is like, they just don't care. right? Like it's like everybody knows now that these courses are crazy, and now people that are repeating races and coming away with these huge chunks one way or another. Like I'm sure people came into this that weren't in that great of fitness and walked away with PRs.
Pull up the top 30. Who got
I wouldn't
kicked
say
out?
they don't care. I'm going to say the opposite. I'm going to say they do really care. They do really care about times.
It's getting
and they're
worse.
trying to find a way to optimize the courses.
I don't know. Part of me, I'm not accusing him of this, but have you heard Mo several times? He's like, "What do you think? Do you think anybody can break 52? You think a woman can go 56 or something?" Like he said that in interviews, and they just keep getting faster and faster. And of course, more experience, you're gonna get faster. It's a standardized race, but there's like a limit to what the human body can do realistically.
We haven't touched. I don't think we've touched that yet. But these chunks of time that are coming off are like, so maybe you're right, BK. Maybe they care and they're doing it in the opposite direction as opposed to, but like they're not standardizing it. Like they're like, that's what they're not doing. They don't care to standardize this at all. Or they're saying and being like, no, it is standardized. It's fine, when it's clearly not.
Yeah. And I think that we're limited because we have the athlete / passionate side of the sport perspective, which is we're looking at standardization on a week-to-week basis, season to season, where they may be looking at it saying like in 5 years from now, do we have a product that's ironclad? Like even the other pro sports, 3-point line getting added and then moved back, field goal being narrowed and then moved back. Like other things happen, but from a long-term perspective, they all make sense and they make for a better product. We're living in the here and now where like there's something crazy to happen. It doesn't make sense. This is not fair. And they might just be thinking, we're not trying to make the best fair race for today. We're making it for the next 5 and 10 years. And we need to get there as soon as possible. So we'll tinker every month until we got it.
And like,
it's almost like,
go ahead, Jack. No.
All right. I was going to say it's almost like the designated hitter rule also in baseball, where it's like one league and now it's a universal one, but for a while it was like, hey, you just have to play by these rules. Your pitcher's got to hit because you're in the NL, and the AL doesn't have to do that. And it feels like, depending on where you go, you either have the DH or not. And it's like, why didn't you score as many runs? It's like, well, because my pitcher was hitting. And here
we would have had a field day with that if that was our sport. If we would have had a field day with a short porch in right field, like, how is this? Like, you really expect me to believe like this guy's hitting 48 bombs because he plays half his games in Denver and half the games in like Yankee Stadium? Like, we don't. Like we would have wrecked that. We would have wrecked shop on all these sports too. But as an outsider, we're like, it's kind of cool to have this. I think we're sometimes just too close to the issue.
It's a different, like the inconsistencies that you guys are bringing up, that is true, but it doesn't affect the end of the season. They still have to play. They still have to go through each team. When you're on the same field, you are having the same rules. Here, these fields are all spread out, and they're affecting the like outcomes and like the course and like the athletes who are going to
the selection
be able to participate. So it's like the same sport, but on different fields that count the same. So it's not the same as inconsistencies in terms of like, yeah, there's one more game in football. These records are different. It's different from the numbers at the end of the day, but the two teams play on the same field. Here, that's not the case. And like, there's all these different fields, it's like different sports, and then they're lining them up against each other.
All right, I'm gonna play devil's advocate to that. So
do it.
I'm a Wisconsin guy. Every week we watch teams come into Green Bay and bring 6 pairs of cleats to the field because they can't figure out how their shoes translate to our real grass that gets chewed up like crazy because it's always wet or freezing or unfreezing and being replanted. And our guys practice on it all week. They know exactly what to use. Like, that is an unfair advantage. And we know it, and we're fine with it. And their D-backs slip when we cut, and their wide receivers slip when they cut. And we're just sitting pretty on that. Like, I think that the unfairness, even in standardized sports, it's just going to be there. And I'm not saying it's okay. I'm just saying we are too close and passionate about it sometimes, and we get riled up, rightfully so. But the 5-year plan may prove them right.
But that analogy, it's okay. But it'd be like,
it's not great.
It'd be like determining who makes the playoffs based off of opponents scoring at your home field. Like, it's like just like, oh yeah, well, they're just cheating asses over there in New England.
Yeah, but it happens everywhere. We had a special in the playoffs one day, and it showed Rodgers and I don't even know who it was, Hasselbeck at the time, working the balls over to the way that Rodgers wanted it before the game for our footballs. I just don't think, and Fox did a special on it and they showed it and everyone's like, that's so cool that we're doing that. And like 2 years later, like Tom Brady is evil because they changed the ball prayer. Like we highlighted us doing this, rubbing it with sandpaper, deflating it, raising it up a little bit. Rodgers liked it extra pumped up because he had strong hands in the cold and the other quarterback couldn't handle it. So they pumped it extra. Like it's happening everywhere. And I'm not saying that justifies all of it. It's just that we're in the infancy, and so all the changes seem crazy big.
But like, it would be like,
is it worth it? Is what I'm saying. If 3 years from now it's sorted, they figured out how to do this.
The problem with your 3 to 5 year plan is that's like a good chunk of your athletic career at a high level. And it's like, who's going to get affected? Who's going to be denied opportunities? Who's going to fall out of the sport? Because they're like, I can't, like, I'm in my late 30s, or I'm just not going to do this for 4 or 5 years, and I'm going to pursue something else. Like, we're going to lose people and the opportunity. That's the issue.
That's going to be.
That's the part where Rich is totally right in that, like, I hate the phrase. I don't hate it. I just like the phrase they don't care, because I think they truly do care. But the thing they don't care about is the athlete that came to their sport. They didn't make the sport for Rich. They didn't make it for me. They didn't make it for Lucas, even though Lucas was instrumental to their rise. They're making it for their company.
Yes.
And whoever is there when it grows is who they're super happy and going to be like supporting. And then they're going to find the next person. I don't think they care about the athlete life growth at all or their athletic window, because why would they?
They definitely don't. But it's like, yeah, that's what they don't care about. And like, you might be right in the long term, and it might not hurt. And that's a question that we were asked about, like the long-term growth of the sport. Like, does it matter for them at all if these courses are inconsistent in terms of a company? Like, probably not. Like, how many people are going to run these and be like, oh, this course was fast, and then everybody in the field knows it, and then they don't sign up the next year for it? Like, it just doesn't matter to them for their bottom line.
Yeah. No, I mean, and we see time and time again that when a team chains themselves to someone long-term, they eventually get undercut by that contract. Not that this is the way our sport works, but signing someone to a 10-year deal has proven time and time again to be really, really bad. And like, if you look at the start of Hyrox, Lucas and Imke were the face of Hyrox, and they pimped them out everywhere. They plastered their face across everything. They were the sport. And where's MK? Do you think that 90% of the people in Hyrox right now even remember her?
No.
And she was like the Amelia Boone of Hyrox. And now Meg and Lauren have just eradicated her from people's memories. And Hunter has erased Lucas from people's memories, just like Frazier just replaced Froning. Like, it doesn't matter to the sport, because there'll always be someone new. We're not special or unique because there's someone else special and unique out there. And they're just going to keep finding that. So I don't think it matters to them to invest in someone. Like, do they care if Dylan ever makes a world podium?
Definitely not.
They don't.
Clearly
because
not.
there's a million people they can find with a similar story to Dylan with a different twist, and they'll use him for a year or two and move to the next.
And so they allow people to qualify for these races who run 1,500 meters as opposed to 1,600 meters. And some of us are running 1,600 meters, others running 15, and they're like, so what? These athletes are interchangeable. It doesn't matter.
There's no altitude conversion. And if they were to do something like that, you know how indoor track, if you run it in like Albuquerque or Colorado or something, they have the little A for the adjustment. You can't do that, because someone's going to get screwed, and they're going to be like, hey, I ran this time. It's not my fault. You guys screwed up. They'll never be able to just have a universal factor.
That happens in running every year, though. Every year, a time is posted. Everyone looks at it and be like, man, I don't know about that. And then later on, it turns out like, yeah, that was suspect. Yeah. I watched it happen in college. I may have used this example on here, running public. I don't know. But when I was in college, we ran at University of Wisconsin, which is a powerhouse program. And they were trying to run a 3K indoor qualifier to get through to a qualifying mark for regionals or nationals or whatever it was going to be. And they marked the track with cones out in lane 3 or 4. And as they're doing this, I asked their coach, I'm like, what's going on? And he's like, you'll get it when you see our guys. These are big antelopes out here, big strides. You'll understand when you see it. He was just cheating.
Yeah.
They ran their 3K qualifier in lane 3 or 4 indoor track to reduce the angle of the turn. And then they submitted that as a time. And they just did it in front of like 14 teams. They just did that. And he was like, no, you'll get it. They have big strides. It's so much better. Like, yeah, it is, but you can't submit that. And stuff like that happens all the time in the oldest, most like metric-based sport on earth.
But that's cheating.
It is.
Do you report on the
altitude conversions are cheating? Because if you and I go up to altitude, let's say we go to 7,000 feet and run a 5K, our conversion should not be the same as someone who's born and raised and lives at 7,000 feet. It doesn't matter. The altitude conversion for an 800 meter is just flawed. It's wrong. But it works every single year to get people in. It's based on a conversion system that was made like 25 years ago and no one's bothered updating because they can't fix it because there's not a better version because it all sucks.
I think a better analogy would be the 300 meter indoor tracks versus the 200 meter.
It's a great one.
Like Washington or something.
Bank track everybody's flat.
Yeah, like those are different courses.
Those are different. Your speed better on a banked course.
And it's arbitrary because a 5'2" runner is going to use a bank track differently than 6'2". And it's going to give them different return on their energy. So I guess my point is from all of these things is that we're focused here, not here. And they're focused here, never here.
Yeah.
And we'll always be at odds because of that.
Right. And I think that they should at least hone in a little bit and be like, weird.
I think
weird that this happened. But they just they're not doing anything about it.
They did make changes this year. You got to they changed their qualifying system. We did have an episode on that.
A little better.
But there are still flaws, but they were willing to do it. But it just sucks that 2024 is going to have the same exact thing happen before they can't make changes this year.
No, they won't. They never will.
No. Let's keep in mind, we have Spartan here who puts out a worse reduced version of obstacle course racing each year and tells us it's better. And we have Hyrox who puts out a different improved flawed version each year and said, we're trying.
Yeah.
Like I will give them a lot of grace because they listened at the end of each season and tried something new rather than saying, we listened, here's what you asked for, and hand us the exact opposite of what we asked for.
Yeah, they're definitely better than Spartan is about that. And like we talked about in the Crystal Ball episode, like just seeing them improve a little bit gives us hope that they will continue to show that type of improvement, even with the coverage. You know, like they are definitely trying.
They improve one week to the next. Realistically,
I also think it's worth reiterating that we haven't found a way to fix it yet. Like we have suggestions, but none of our qualifying systems we've come in.
Someone asked a question about it, and I think that it's going to be a great question.
We should get to that. But if we can't come up with the perfect qualifying, what do we do with times and place? Why would we expect a company, a corporation, to fix it if we don't even know how to? And this is all we care about.
The tough part is it's like our suggestions. A lot of it involves head-to-head racing, and you will never get that because the people can't face each other due to the current structure that's in there.
Yes. Let's pull up the Elite 15 currently, because there was certainly some shakeups on the men's side for sure. Look at your boy just sitting pretty. I'm still upset about this, and I shouldn't be. I'm chilling.
So there are 11 autos already.
11 autos.
So 4 spots between Austria, DC, and the last chance qualifier. So you're going to have one from each of those, from DC. And one of them has 2. That is unreal.
For the listeners, let's clarify. What do you mean by autos? Auto to what?
To every major.
There are 15 auto majors. You're right.
Some people are going to hear that and think worlds.
Yeah,
just in the majors.
That's a good point. Yeah, I'm looking at the screen and it has 11 David Magida highlighted, meaning the remaining 2 majors and last chance qualifier. So the 3 biggest races besides World Championship remaining, 11 of the 15 spots are already reserved if those athletes want to show up there on the men's side.
Which I think is good.
That there's more autos?
Yeah, for consistency of field and getting people to the races, I think it's already proven to be good for the narrative.
And that's what
it's
they want.
not good for entering the sport.
No. But at least then
I'm
we
just
have the
looking
last
at
chance
this.
qualifier. At least that's like
Yep.
if I'm Dylan Scott, who's 25th now, it's like cross your fingers, hope for a roll down.
Hope you can race in your own country one of two times that you're allowed to.
And then but just be like, I'm not going to count on it. I'm putting all my eggs in the Anaheim basket. Because right now there are, I think, 5 people qualified for Worlds. I believe that's what there is. So like there could be more spots. So
look at the women's side. 1, 2, 3 are.
I have a different tab I've not looked at.
Oh, okay.
So it looks like there are 6.
6 men, 5 women.
Yeah.
Because you had repeat for the women in Stockholm, so that probably prevented the roll down from happening.
And say 2 more people qualify at the next 2, right? For the men. That'll put us up to 10 people qualified. So it's 5 spots remaining in the 2 last chance qualifiers.
Two each. Okay, yeah.
2 each. Like say Ryan Kent, Bronco, and Mike Sandbach are all in the top 5 at Vienna. That would leave 2 remaining spots to be open. But if Bo is in the top 5 as well, that would only be 1 spot to roll down to get.
The athletes could control the narrative. You guys could all get together and say, as soon as you have a qualifier, don't show up to any more majors. Let's get 3 qualifiers at every major.
Those are the only races to pay.
And that's the problem. That's the only way to make money in the sport.
So it's not.
So people would have to be selfless.
And that ain't happening. So there could be up to, so say 2. So there could be 2 spots at the last chance qualifier that's going to be in Germany, I believe. And then 3 spots for the one in Anaheim, which is like pretty good. That's like not bad.
If you told all these athletes, hey, you're going to have 1 race and you're going to have 3 spots available, and all you have to really do is face your countrymen, people are going to take those odds.
There is so much less parity on the women's side between like 3 and 20 that like there might be 10 spots remaining. Like this could be the top 5 at the remainder of the majors. Maybe that 5th spot.
Yeah, because you only have a roll down up to 5th place, and those are probably going to be them, at least 4 of them, most of those races.
Yeah, I mean, you look at the
2,
5th spot,
right?
Yeah, there's going to be like 1 spot at each race where someone like Camilla, Vivian could certainly beat Rebecca Mason in a race like that. But then the rest, it's like they're going to be racing last chance qualifier.
Camilla's just going to keep getting better. Unless, I mean, barring injury or burnout, we don't know what she's feeling like or what it's looking like right now. But barring that, she is trending in the right direction.
She'll be good. I think she should be able. She beat Rebecca Mason in Chicago after falling and breaking her finger.
Yeah.
So she has a really good shot in Vienna.
I think Lauren Griffith's getting overlooked also.
Yeah, she's crushing. Her times are just improving like crazy. But so let's see who got bumped.
So Viola
got bumped because of Jennifer Nicholas. He had Jezebel still on the outside after a 3-minute. And Chris, she must have been 16 before this.
This is the furthest Jezebel's ever been out.
Yeah,
with like a 3-minute PR.
Like I said, she's always 15 or 16, like right on there.
Yeah.
The women,
7 seconds is like an eternity for her at this point in the sport.
Yeah, and it's crazy because like if we look at track and field, you might have a 10.07 versus 10.04 separating who gets into the Olympic trials. That's like hundredths of a second. We're talking full seconds here, but it is a pretty big margin realistically.
Yeah, but if you look at elite half marathons, especially on the women's side, this is about what it looks like.
Yeah, you're
maybe even
multiplying
further
the
spread.
distance a ton. Yep.
So let's take a look at the men's side. Getting bumped out of the Elite 15 are Graham Holiday and Jonathan Wynn. So, and those are 2 athletes who finished 5th and 6th at Worlds last year.
Worlds, yeah.
And
56-58, not
it's out
right now.
Right.
That's crazy.
That's dumb. The one thing with this is
that's not going to be the last time sub 57. I bet by the end of the year, you might even have like 20th place be sub 57.
Can you imagine our crystal ball predictions at the beginning of the year?
Yeah.
If we had said, hey, I bet 56 doesn't get in. Yeah.
You got to be. I mean, with these courses, I've been like, maybe. I mean, this shit is so stupid. And with the new sleds coming through, who knows?
But Magida has a 59.11. He can get it. I know it's like,
I'm going to be last seed again. I'm going to be freaking last seed for forever.
That works out. You want that.
Yeah, it's fine. It's good value during the draft. But that's the other thing with this current system, that now the times that you run apparently are good for life. You just have that time. They can get you into any race for the rest of your freaking life. So if you catch a good course, you're in. Don't worry about it. Then don't even have to show up. Don't have to prove it for another. It's been 10 months these times that have been run. It's insane. Like, how long do people get to have these times to prove that they deserve to be in these Elite 15 races? Like, when is it like, maybe not. Maybe they need to do it again.
And I know we've harped on this before, but if you have your big Q, I'd almost rather have them remove the number, because you've got Rylan ranked number 1 with his big Q, his 55.46, in a race that he lost to Kent, where Kent's showing a 3-minute slower time than Rylan ran, even though Kent ran 3 minutes faster than his time in the same race as Rylan. But it's like, how do you seed that now? Not the seeding matters, but like if we use numbers, and numbers do matter, and 1 through 10 lists matter to people who look at it and it means something, this means nothing.
Nothing.
No. Yeah, it looks like they just don't know how to use a sort function. Because on the women's side, second seed is Michaela, who got 5th in Stockholm. Or I thought she was.
Right. This is from last year, though.
The Elite 30 that I was looking at, like, that you had up earlier.
Again, it's no benefit to the athlete. It just clouds the water in an already slightly confusing sport.
Right. Like
let's just remove the time.
This might be, but they won't change. Yeah, let's just remove the time.
4th place, not 5th. Yeah.
So to me now, what we need is some sort of power ranking, right? Jack, a lot of people have been asking us.
A lot of people
are asking us, how would you create a power ranking for Hyrox to account for these courses and for like strength of schedule? How could that happen? How could we do this?
Are you talking a multi-panel voting? Because that's gonna have a little bit of bias there as well.
No, like your nerdy ass spreadsheet shit.
Yeah. Honestly,
Jack, come help me.
In a sport like this, the reason I think that it works when I was doing it in Spartan is because it doesn't matter if you run 2.5 hours or 3 hours at the Tahoe, for instance, to win a world championship. Everybody has the same course that day. So I am a firm believer that head-to-head matchups is what matters. And if you're only going to allow 15 people to race, I think what they should do is have at least a second course on that grid system, the fast course, later that day for the people who are just out there, so you can actually compare apples to apples. Just do it right after. Don't do it at 6 p.m. and have to resort stuff again. But you need to be able to compare head-to-head style matchups at each of these venues. That's the only way that it's going to work. Time just won't work.
Well, when I'm thinking of this power ranking system, so we do need to get rid of time, right? For the World Championship qualifiers, there needs to be a way to race yourself into it. But they want, like how Bracken was saying before, they want the narrative, they want the story building, they want these athletes at major championships. So the way to do that and eliminate time would be from some sort of ranking. And you've ranked things that are, the time doesn't matter. The head-to-head, the strength of schedule type of deal. Like, can we do that here?
Oh yeah, Bracken said it. Percent of winner.
I think percent of winner actually matters here.
Percent of winner. This is it.
Exactly. Yeah.
First time I've ever said that.
Oh my God, Jack! What is this? 100 episodes? I think we're at.
Easily, but you can compare like a 56 versus a 58. If you're taking the same ratio relative to the winner, you're still getting your percent of winner. That's all it is. It's just your time relative to the fastest time that day, and that gives you percent of winner. So if you have a respectable time or a proven time, something like that, and you have your percent of winner, that's a pretty easy way to do it. But what I also think that they could do, and we're deciding we're going to keep like 15 people make a world. Is that kind of what your
no, I think it's I think it's a different thing. I think that there needs to be a way to race yourself in. So like there's 2 regionals, whatever, in each region, move yourself into the regional championship. take X amount of people out from the championships, but they want these showcases. They want these majors. They want to put these things on grids and televise them. But it doesn't make sense to make those be the qualifiers because it's just not fair and there's not enough room.
So to get the college basketball system, you have a power ranking, but you can also play your way in through your conference tournament.
Yeah. So the power ranking would be who gets into the majors. CrossFit's doing something similar like this, like what it's taking the past 2 seasons.
CrossFit, but I'm
doing it first, mate. And then they're really not using it now because there is a obvious way to make your way to the games. But down the road, I think it's going to be like, all right, you're the 5th ranked person in the world based off your performance the past 2 years. You don't have to do the CrossFit Open or semis or quarters. Like, you're going to make it through.
You're good enough.
You don't have to waste your time. Where for Hyrox, I think that's where they can make these majors. Or how do they do it for track and field for like a 1500 in a diamond league? Like,
there's a world ranking.
Yeah. Right. And that's how they kind of,
and that's off the IAF scoring tables, I thought. Right.
I don't believe so.
Oh, I thought that they have that for many events, but okay, maybe it's a different system than I'm used to.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, I get what you're saying. I think the other thing that I think is tough with the race your way in, they don't allow athletes from their own country to get a chance to race their way in. And I think that that's part of the issue. And like, we can look at it from the American side, we can look at it from the European side. It's like, I'm sure there are a couple athletes in Europe who are just missing out. And it's like, why? I'm so sick of Meg and Lauren just coming over and winning European based races. And it's because of the way that the prize structure is set out. I think that you can create a ranking system for athletes within your same country. And we've got 2 in the US. Anybody from the US, you want to race there and you're in the top 30 of, our rankings, whatever we decide it to be, you should be allowed to do it. But it's such a preventative way of letting people race the way that it's set up right now.
Totally. So the track and field, they do have a ranking system based off points. Jackie, could you make this for us? What the heck?
I could, but it's some work. And what are the odds that it would get implemented?
Very little. Just give us more fuel to just fucking fire off.
Okay.
I think the best of both worlds is that you race your way in through the opens or the majors or whatever you want to call it, but there need to be a few record eligible courses out there. I think that preserves the integrity of Hyrox having a world record, which I do believe is important in a race. You either have to have CrossFit style, which does not care. No one remembers what Froning scored. They don't. They might remember his Murph time, or they might remember his Helen time, but they don't remember his score or anything. They just know he won. And in our sport, they want time, so we should have some record eligible courses. And there would need to be some standards for that. And I think you would have to do it like an optimized mile, Deka mile, where it is literally just a zone that leads right out, like that you can replicate in any venue. It is a 2.5 lap venue, and it has to have a zone set up just like this. And for it to be a record eligible course, it has to be a venue that is at least 120 feet by 340 feet. It must be a rectangle.
I don't like the at least. I like exactly. Not
well, it's bare minimum. Like if you don't have this footprint, you cannot host a record eligible event here. You can host an event. We can do 14 laps to the mile. We can do it short track, speed skating, all we want, but it's not record eligible. But it can help your power ranking, sure. So if every country just had one record eligible course, that would be enough to satisfy that. Like, hey, I'm going to go after a record. Rich wants to hear you announce it, go after it. But it keeps the racing your way in still the most important thing to the athletes.
We sort of already talked about it with the baseball thing where it's like, oh yeah, no wonder why you hit 50 home runs because you have a short right field or something. But they have stats like that where like OPS plus, on base plus slugging percentage, where it adjusts for the league average and it adjusts to, do you have a favorable ballpark or a pitcher's ballpark where you're going to have less offense as a result of the dimensions of the field. And I feel like this is a dimension-based sport as well, where maybe you could just look at, hey, this was 10% faster course across a whole. We have all the open heats, we have all the fast heats. Even if you just want to only look at the fast times, because they're the only ones, or age group as well, because they're trying to qualify for worlds. But if you look at every result that could make Worlds or is in a heat that's trying to qualify for Worlds potentially, you could make an adjustment factor there across the season and then apply it there. That might be how I would do it.
That's a great idea. And like having it be like like you mentioned, the average of the field. Like, yeah, you can take Tomas's time and then average it across the top 30 or whatever.
Exactly.
Like,
and it's probably going to come out to pretty even, but it's like,
close.
Hey, this really fast course, guess what? The other heats ran relatively average. So they were just fast today, and you just accept it for what it is.
And it would take this out of it because this sucks.
That's what we need.
Sucks.
Right now, we have a negative reaction, a visceral negative reaction to fast times. Like Hunter runs a world record and we're like, oh, what was that course like? Rather than be like, holy crap, the marathon world record got broken. No one ever asks about the marathon course because there's enough standardization.
Well, if it's in like Boston, it's like, oh, it's downhill.
Usually it's like, well,
but it doesn't get
the course. It's probably the blood inside of the person that is.
The only conversation you ever hear is it was a great wind or it was perfect running weather.
Or the shoes.
Yeah, but everyone has access to those.
Yeah, at this point, it doesn't matter as much.
And that's what we want in this sport. I want to celebrate Lucas in his 40s running a 56. I don't want to look at him and be like, yeah, but what does it mean?
It's like, oh man, dude ran 62.
Record eligible course. He ran a 56. That's fantastic. Yes. Or he won on a record ineligible course. He won. That's so cool. I want to take out the negative reaction to good performances because it's, and I hate using this word lightly, but it's kind of like a toxic conversation for the sport to do that.
No, I agree.
Do you remember how excited you would get? It's like, oh my God, did you hear this kid at this other school ran a 4:27 in the 1600? Like back in high school track, you just get pumped, and you knew that it was real because it's a standard 400-meter track anywhere that you go. That's just what it is. You believe the times. Just make a standard course, and we will believe you. Like
Performance Center.
All you need to do. Yancey figured it out very easily. Like identical courses every single time. They can do the same exact thing. You saw how big and long the Hyrox Chicago course was? That's just a different layout, but they left like part of the venue empty. You can do the same. You can do the same exact thing anywhere if you really try.
Yeah, and all it means is you have to find a rectangle, a standard dimension rectangle, and the layout must be the same, which is not difficult to do.
You set a minimum size.
Carnies do it every weekend across the nation. They have the way they put out their booths and where the rides sit and the relationship with how far it has to be between it. At these carnivals, they do it over and over and over at all these fairgrounds. And I love
games.
I love the working class of America, but we're not special. If we can do it at carnivals, Hyrox can do it with German engineering.
Even for president,
even if they if they announce it like the day before and they're like, we've done this, we've seen the layout, it's big enough, it works, this is a world record eligible course, and then so at least we can look at it and be like, okay, cool. And not so they have to like, so people can go after world records, whatever, maybe eventually, and they could do it at year after year if it's the same place and it'll just be known. But you could do it like the day before.
The same way triathlon does wetsuit legal. You wake up and you're like, hey, it's wetsuit legal today, or it's not, and it changes things, and everyone just accepts it. Two things have to happen. First of all, the standardization needs to come from someone that the industry respects as infallible. It can't be one of the Hyrox execs saying we've decided this course is. No, you have to have your independent course measurer, and that's fine. Like it could be Jack. It could be Tobias, like someone that the industry would just look at and be like, I trust that face.
He knows about traffic and stuff.
And then it would have to be proven like 2 or 3 times where they do a walkthrough and show and like, here are our calculations, here's how it happened, and here's why this is a trustworthy process. And then from then on out, anytime it gets the rubber stamp, people don't do anything other than get excited.
You have to think about like other courses whenever they're showing the Tahoe preview or any Golden Series trail race. They're always showing like the map, and they have like the GPS file with the red line showing where you're going to go. Maybe they could just do a fast forwarded view of the wheel and be like, hey, see, it's proof. It's exactly 400 meters point to point. Something
Imperial
like that.
Metric, we don't care.
Yeah,
don't matter.
Yeah, and Rich, you mentioned traffic. They actually have, say you want to build like a roundabout and you don't have enough room on Yeah, around a boot. And you don't have enough room on every side because of the right of way, because someone else owns that land. They have templates where basically you can plop this thing and it's like, hey, it's going over the edge of the right of way line.
I didn't mean that. I didn't mean
Thumbs
that.
down. Wow.
I didn't mean that. I didn't mean
that. Hate it. I was gonna say, and if it fits, okay, you know right away this template is gonna work, and you can create one of those for Hyrox. It's like, hey, we have this rectangle. Does it fit? Sweet, we could
Jack's
do it.
Our man.
You must
maybe the merchandise booth has to be a little outside instead of in the middle this time to make it work, or you can shift some pieces around, but at least get the running zone, because that's what people are there to do.
All right.
I like that. That's simple. Also, I do think there needs to be clarity from Hyrox through an infallible source of the way they calculate rock zone plus run equals blank.
Right.
Because we have Rich's rumor. We have a couple other people, their theories, but at this point in the process, we just need to clear that out and have it the runs are 900 to 1,000. The rock zone make up the difference. This is what it just needs to change.
Like, needs to change.
Every lap will be
8,700 meters total. That's all that they care about at the end.
That's what they're hoping for, I believe. But however you get there, how many turns?
But hoping isn't right.
But hoping for, I believe, isn't trustworthy.
It's not.
Like, we just need to know. And for all the other courses, we need to know what that formula is.
Yeah.
8,700 meters combined or record eligible.
It just feels like sometimes if you're going to like a sandwich shop or something and you order a large and you get a small, you're like, what the heck? Like, and you're expecting to get a fast course, and it's like, but I didn't. What the heck? Or
I went to Spain. I got that.
You went to the wrong.
I was looking for a foot long hoagie. I got a 6-inch freaking sub.
Yeah.
Sucked.
Last thing.
Screwed.
I think it's time to build just a walkway over the course.
Oh,
build a walk. Oh yeah, that's cheap.
Yeah, it's time to stop playing red light, green light.
No, for sure.
Because humans are inherently idiots.
That's going to happen in an elite race, and we're going to hear about it. Someone gets whacked.
What if you have a wheelchair?
I mean, I don't know. You still probably can't be expected to dodge spectators.
Do you know how big that ramp would have to be? It's not happening, bro. I do like
the
design and stuff. It's not happening.
Steps down. Bing, bing.
Steps. Okay, yeah.
Why not? What is the problem here,
Steps
Jack?
for a wheelchair?
No, for the wheelchair side, they'll figure out a different option for that. But for like the general people to get from outside of the Hyrox course across the run pathway into like the spectator area.
They can just hire brackets carnival people.
If they can shut down New York City, Berlin, Chicago, LA for a marathon, if they can do that, we can find a way to let runners run 300 to 400 meter laps without anyone dashing across traffic.
Right.
All right. Rich, what's the next question?
Well, quick.
People are always asking about.
I got the track and field world rankings up. Who do you think was the top male athlete across all disciplines? And they're ranking across disciplines too. So it's just perfect, whatever they're doing.
Ryan Krauser.
Close. He was second.
That shocking. Indian jab thrower.
Oh yeah.
With the Instagram followers, I don't think that works into
doesn't. You said across all platforms.
That's true. I did not designate. Yeah, that's all.
Oh, Karsten Warholm probably.
He's way down. He's fifth, not way down.
Really?
Think
someone obvious like Noah Lyles?
He's third. Think goofier than that.
Pole vault. Then it was got to be Mondo.
Armand Duplantis.
Yep. Yeah.
Duplantis, Krauser, Lyles, Jakob, and then Karsten.
Yeah. We do pretty well.
How about on the women's side?
Faith Kipyegon. She broke so many world records.
Nailed it. Nice job. I was going to tell you not to overthink it, but you nailed it.
Yeah, she won everything.
Yeah.
2?
Fraser Price?
No, I don't think she had a great year.
I don't think so.
Same country.
Man, what's her Sharika Jackson?
Nice, dude. Yeah. Sharika Jackson 2.
Not same country.
Kellyanne
Fraser, they're both Jamaican.
Who did you say, Jack?
Sharika Jackson. Shelly-Ann Fraser-Price.
Gotcha.
They're on the same 4x1.
Oh, no.
Shikari's
fourth.
Shikari, I guess that's similar, yeah.
Shikari got his fourth. Third?
Guessing that high jumper.
Sifan Hassan. No. What's the She set the 5K and the 10K.
Gudaf Sagay.
Yeah,
she's
Sagay.
5th.
Okay.
Third was someone who wouldn't have been third if it wasn't for an injury within her specific event.
Then it would be Femke Bol.
Femke Bol. Nice,
Oh,
guy.
yeah.
Dude, you guys are so good.
Sydney, yeah. We
You guys
know
are so
this
good.
stuff.
All right. Everyone's always asking us, if you had to pick one shoe for Deka and Hyrox, what would it be?
I'm signing off.
We got 2 minutes to answer this.
I was going to say, I'm starting a clock. You guys are not taking up the rest of this episode with this question.
One shoe. You can answer two, Jack. Thinking Topo. The Topo flat foot Supreme.
And I'm assuming we have to choose one that will work in any condition on any course.
Yes. One safe shoe. You have enough. You have budget enough for any shoe, but not for multiple shoes. However that works.
One shoe that I will just take on anything, no matter what. It's probably Endorphin Pro 3.
Yeah, Endorphin Pro 3. That's what I was going to say.
I don't love it. It's not that exciting to me.
It's like okay for both.
It would be the Sky, but it's just the torque tank sometimes. Like Riker had issues with it.
I'd worry about that on some carpets too. I've yet to wear it, but I would worry about it.
Yeah. My answer is listen to a couple weeks ago if you want to know which shoes are best.
The Topo. What's one model of Topo that we could bring up? BK got some?
Yeah, Spectre 2.
Magnafly.
The Topo Magnafly is last
on
this list here.
I think the Ultra, what's it? Starts with a P. I can't even remember what it is.
All right, Jack.
The
one that Chris wore.
The Ultra Pointless.
You're kicked off. You're out of here. I would say
Chris won when she won a Worlds.
I would say the Puma Nitro Deviate Regular 2.
Regular, yeah.
Safe bet.
If
Again,
it has
flashy.
at least 4 or 5 different delineators in the name, you're good. Just go with that.
Well,
4 is good. 5 is too pointy.
Too pointy?
Single use.
You must have a rectangle. You can't have a pentagon.
All right, Jack, this one was coming from you. People always seem to be asking you, what's the best bang for your buck when it comes to sunscreen? And how much SPF is too much SPF?
Oof. Honestly, if you look at a lot, I would say Sun Bomb is my favorite in terms of smell plus effectiveness. But if you're like going cheap, just go to Kroger. A lot of the ingredients for the store brand have the same exact percent, like for all the ingredients in there.
What are the ingredients we're looking for?
What if you don't have Kroger?
Kroger is the same as a lot of different brands. Like it's a national chain that goes by many different names. So just
listen to the shoe episode. We need that level of clarity.
Well, King Soopers offers Kroger brand stuff. That's what I'm getting at. There are a lot of I can't go on the 30 different sub names of Kroger. But anyway, yeah, a lot of times store brand is going to be equivalent to it, and you get more bang for your buck. If you've got a beard, I usually use the face special kind, Neutrogena. They have a sports edition one. That one's pretty good. And I don't use the minerals sunscreen most of the time unless I'm like at the beach.
Lotion or spray?
Well, I was gonna say I do the rub on my face and then I'll spray the beard. And if I'm in a rush, I'll spray. Or if I'm gonna be using it like 20 different times, like in Dubai, I'm not putting on sunscreen every single time. If I have a race, same exact deal. I'm not gonna be rubbing it on my hands. One thing about races though, if you have like a fanny pack, they offer a sunscreen stick. So if you're like in the middle of your race, it's like chapstick. You just literally paint it on you basically. And that offers a lot of protection because if you're going in and out of the water and it's like a beast, you're out there for a couple, 2-3 hours, maybe even longer. If you're not running as fast, that's a very helpful tip.
I got that sunbum stick. I got stuck with it twice. I was just like in a place where I just needed sunscreen. And the place where I was, they knew I needed it. It was like a little tiny stick. It was like $14. I was like, God.
Oh,
it smell nice though. It does smell nice.
Yeah, sunbum's really good.
What about the SPF situation? More than 50, does it matter?
I generally go 50 to 70.
70.
Yeah, but I have special needs.
You are special needs when it comes to this.
BK, I was going to say, should I finish this sentence? You guys are going to.
Where do you draw the line on SPF, BK?
I don't know. I think you got to be looking for more than 70 to find it. So I 50 is what I typically live in.
You go 50.
What do you do on the top of your head? Because that is something that I would be very nervous about.
Hat.
Yeah.
That's how I run in. I ran in hats never in my life. until this occurred.
Are you fitted hat, or do you have the little semicircle sticking out the back?
That's the problem.
Straps?
So the I wear it backwards to keep the flies off my neck in the Midwest. That's a real
But now
problem.
you've got the semicircle on your forehead.
So you get the crescent moon. I have that a lot, but then I'll spray my forehead and then put the hat on. But recently, what I had my mom do was I had an old singlet that the mesh matched my hat, and I cut a piece off and had her sew it over the crescent.
There we go.
You don't go bucket?
I mean, I
sun
would,
hat?
but at some point they get buckets
I
don't have
a
great
physical, like a Home Depot bucket
full
on
on
his
bucket
head.
on your head. Spartan.
I'm sure
Spartan
someone
up.
will write in because everyone's always asking me about this, but the ventilation on bucket hats traditionally aren't very good.
Oh, is that right?
Wearing a hat is just hot unless you're constantly wetting the hat. So
yeah, that's the key.
Oftentimes uphill, I'm switching it forward, and then I turn around and the sun's at my back. I switch the hat backwards.
Okay.
It's a whole process, and it's not perfected.
People
a bucket hat with great ventilation, a Boco bucket hat would be my jam.
I still wear my oversized mud run guide hat on a lot of trail runs. The problem is going downhill, that thing just flops up. So I'll put it backwards on downhills as well.
Yeah.
All right. I got a lot of people asking us. A lot of stuff going on in Spartan this year. What's going to be the most prestigious OCR title in 2024?
I think
Rich, what do you think?
None of them.
I think the first title to be handed out this year is the one I'll trust the most because we don't know if the others will happen, and we can't guarantee it will beat the Tough Mudder 8-hour Infinity Saudi Arabia crown.
Are we calling this a world championship as well?
I don't think it's a world championship, but it's a crown of some sort, and it might be the most prestigious deep field of the year.
You can buy yourself a crown after that payday.
The weird thing is, this feels very much like the early days of Killington, where it's just a race that's longer than most people what they're used to. VJ has done like a handful of beasts. He's doing a team. He's going to be running for at least 4 hours.
He's going to be getting 50K probably.
Yeah, a lot of people are going to be going into uncharted territory. Leon, we saw he had a breakthrough in the 15K. He's never really done that. I thought I saw Esther posting that she's doing it. I don't think she's ever done an ultra beast. Like there are a lot of athletes who are going to be out of their element, and I think we're going to see some blowups personally.
I just had a conversation with someone this weekend about this, that this 8-hour distance, because it's reduced down from 24, sounds very raceable and fast to a lot of people. And it is fast. In the ultra world right now, 8 hours is fast. But once you get past 4 hours, between 4 and 6, so much can go wrong that 6 to 8 is an entire race of its own.
Unrecoverable.
Like, watching this is going to be fantastic because no matter what's happening, something else could currently be in the process of changing. You watch Tahoe and you pretty much know by the time they get to the top of the mountain, we've got our top 10. Like, they may shift a few spots inside. That is not going to be the case here. Someone might run away from the beginning and never come back, or they might always be one 10-minute section of time away from totally imploding and just not even finishing the race. It's going to be fascinating.
Rich, you had an experience in your ultra. Didn't lap one first the beast basically went okay, and then
no, I was miserable the whole time. I didn't.
The whole time?
No, I didn't really fall apart that bad there. I just was like, this sucks really bad, and I hate it, and I don't want to do this anymore.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's like people do talk about how it's going to be short. 8 hours. That's not
not short.
Not very short.
4 hours would have been my ooh, this is gonna really, really hurt. It's still gonna hurt a ton, but it's
is plenty. Yeah.
I like the 8-hour meeting ground for these athletes because it's long enough. You have to have a strategy other than just
fit
high end, just over aerobic capacity the whole time.
That
it's too long for that. And the obstacles will actually add up and matter. So the race will go out hot. And that's the beauty of it. It's short enough that the Kunkles of the world are going to ensure that it's going to go out because they look at it and say, I can run fast this entire time. And that's going to make the race fantastic.
Yeah. Yeah. If we're to answer the question, though, specifically Spartan, I think since it's going to be...
It doesn't have to be specifically Spartan. Any OCR.
Okay. All right.
Well, you can go specifically Spartan. People are asking less. They're still asking.
The most anticipated race by far, yes, I would say Tough Mudder, given who's showing up. Like, if you assemble that field in any other race, this is a stacked field. And it's going to be exciting because of the blowups that are going to happen because people aren't used to that. And we'll see, a potential DJ Fox scenario where it's like, I didn't expect them to be good for 8 hours. And, she ends up third place in the podium and we're expecting Chris to run away with it type of situation. Like I could see some weird stuff happening because it's not 24 hours. We saw it at World's Toughest Mudder a couple of years ago, Elmer King leading for 12, 13 hours. We're like, holy crap. It's got like 70 something miles already. And who knows, maybe if he shows up to a race like this, it'd be just the right time to man. But in my opinion, Trifecta World Championship, it's going to be super exciting. You already heard VJ. He mentioned he wants to do that on Matt's podcast. It's the 5th year that they've been running it. You know what you're getting yourself into. Most of the finishing times are in that 3:30 to 3:45 time frame for the men and the low 14s or so for the top women. So you kind of know what you're going to get. It's going to be sprint, then super, then beast. You have the staggered start time. They offer, I think, $5,000 for first place. Everyone from Europe shows up there. You have a decent contingent like Ryland has gone the past couple of years. We saw Atkins do it a few years ago. You saw Woods, Aaron, Killian. You've seen Chris Brown. You've seen people willing to travel over there. And I think that once you start hearing a few more names wanting to do it, it's going to be very, very exciting.
I think I agree with that. I think I agree.
So?
I think I like the trifecta. We'll see about FISO.
I think FISO could take a step forward, but I think out of Spartan, the Ultra World Championship will be
Morzine.
Yeah. And that's a 50K.
Yeah, because it's going to take everyone from Tough Mudder Infinity and move them into the same race. I wanted to see Chris Brown run, but he and Tyler are doing a team, which is a fascinating team.
Right?
Oh, yeah.
That'd be great if they were individual. Team. I mean, like they're just looking for some cake, like going out.
Which is great. I support that.
10 stacks per person.
The people doing teams, doubles, quads, they're all going to be in the same race in Morzine. And that is a distance that people can hammer the whole time. They still will blow up. But it's a much different race. I think it's going to be every bit as competitive as Tough Mudder 8 hour. Because they're not as spread out.
I'm a little concerned because I looked at the prize money for Morzine this year, and it's only 3,000, 2,000, 1,500, 750, and 500. They only pay top 5, and 3,000 is first. I thought it was going to be a little bit higher because previously at Ultra World Championships, like
is that what the post
Iceland, yeah, it did. And I went on Zendesk also and saw that. And
wow,
yeah, you had 6,000 to 8,000 for first place for 24 hours. Granted, at Iceland, Telluride, Sweden. I just don't know if I think it's going to be a very deep European race. And having talked to like Johnny Lunalima and Cole Schwartz and some other athletes from not just the US, but who have raced in Morzine, that's like the best venue. I think it's worth
15 grand total.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I misread that. And 30 for trifecta. That takes that off the table for me too.
Yeah.
What's trifecta's payout then?
It's just double that probably. It's 30 grand total.
Oh, yeah. The past 2 years for trifecta has been 5,000, 3,000, 2,000, 1,500, and 1,000, based on your cumulative 3 times.
So this year, what was the payout for short course world championship?
Roughly 2015, 10.
And what was the beast?
Like 1,500, 1,500. It was.
Yeah. And now short course world championships, 2 race split it. They split 100 grand and the beast will be 105.
So the beast is going to be their premier championship based around the money.
Yeah.
So if we look at the beast last year, or sorry, not the beast. You had 115,000 offered in 2022 when it was a super, and 115,000 offered total when it was a beast. I think it's going to be very similar prize money to 2021 and 2022 when they paid 10 deep. First was 20,000, second was 15,000. They might make like a few adjustments there, but the pot, you're looking in that 15 to 20,000 for first place, and at least 3,000 for probably top 5 to 6 if it's similar to what they've had in the past. So that's good.
Mm-hmm. And that's going to be Abu Dhabi. Do we know?
That's what it said.
Okay.
That on the
so there's gonna be 3 world championship races in Abu
Correct.
Dhabi that all have like
No.
3. No, I don't believe so.
Beast, Abu Dhabi.
Okay.
Short course, 2 races, undisclosed location. Jack's done. Oh, thanks for the thumbs up. I appreciate your support. Jack's done some
Where's
research.
mine? Yeah. No, I did the research. Give me the thumbs up. But anyway, go ahead, Bracken.
I perused Jack's research, and I'm going to claim it as my own.
nice.
Oh,
As we
okay.
all
I think
do.
we know where it's going to be, and it won't be Abu Dhabi. And they've already said it's going to be Europe, right?
Yeah, there was, so basically, I'll just
According to
show
my
this right
research.
here. You can see Spartan Race World Championship, and it specifically next to the beast says hosted by Abu Dhabi Sports Council. Does not say that for the short format World Championship. And then there's another one on Spartan's website and said coming soon, Spartan's first standalone short format World Championships. And then blah, blah, this scenic European location, blah, blah, mark your calendar for October 11th through 13th. So it looks like second week of October in Europe is when the short format World Championships with the plural S on it with 100,000 prize purse will be.
Maybe a sprint, maybe a 3K.
It's either sprint 3K or
Super.
3K 100, right?
400. The way that we keep it out here is the way that we like our obstacle races.
I
Why
would
not a
love to have
sprint and a
super.
400?
Let's just do a 400. That seems like a better. What was the thing that you were the world champion, BK? That was like probably a 300.
OCR
Prelims of 500, finals of 7 to 8.
That
7?
seems like what we need.
You took down Kimmy Wignell.
Touch all those monkey bars.
Yeah.
Different one. That
Oh,
was
it's a
just a
I
qualifier.
thought it was Ohio. There was one.
There was.
Yeah. That was
No
the
rules in
OCR
Ohio.
Warrior.
You didn't have to touch
Yeah,
them all.
That was wild card. Yeah.
That is not a world championship,
Yeah.
But
but it's
basically,
going to be on my LinkedIn.
hell yeah.
Very important website for you. A lot of people checking that.
I do a lot
But-
of work through LinkedIn.
Yeah. But what I did is, and I might be wrong, it could end up being a venue that we're just not aware of, but I went through every single race that has taken place in Europe in October over the past 5 years. Because usually you look at the calendar, you know, like Fenway Park's going to be first or second week in
Mhm.
November in the year. Like every single, even around the world, they have very consistent 1 year apart type of deals. And last year in Madrid, the second week of May, they hosted the 3K European Championship.
Hmm.
That could make sense. I know Rich is a fan.
Never
of
going
Spain.
back. That can't go.
Yeah, but there's another one, Zandvoort in the Netherlands. Probably pronounced that wrong, but that's held national series for them in the past few years. Gregory Basilico's raced there, and like that's a pretty cool venue, pretty scenic.
So that like
those would be my
like a real American there, Jack.
Zandvoort.
Zandvoort.
Yeah.
Zendesk.
Zendesk.
Yeah, maybe it's hosted at the Zendesk. Yeah, that'd be tough to find.
It's a virtual race. It's a scenic race. You want to make it.
Bring the virtual races back.
I wouldn't place money on it, but my gut is telling me it's probably one of those 2 locations. I think since it's a short format, I would love to see a separate sprint and a separate super world championship. Those are the 3 standard. You have your beast already. That'd be great. Maybe a super and a 3K if you want a little differentiation. That's what I'd go with.
Just all ultra and trifecta.
The year of the ultra.
That's what we need from this company.
Long.
We're not asking for all this stuff. So there might potentially be 2 championships under 10K.
Could be a typo. It says championships. Yeah.
Well, we don't know if it's the 3K format. If they're still doing that some places. They're still doing the sprint some places.
Seattle, they're doing that. Yeah.
I don't know.
We'll see. I think since they're having it in Seattle and then a month later, they're having, their announced short format world championship, it kind of makes sense like right after that.
That just leads me to trifecta is one I'm going to be like, okay, this is the one.
Yeah.
All these other ones, if we don't even know yet, how could that possibly be like a premier event?
Mm-hmm.
We mentioned it the first time almost in jest, and then it kind of made sense to us in the episode. And now I'm just firmly on board that trifecta needs to be their like premier format moving forward. I think it's their most unique, viable product.
I agree. It sets the sport, sets the company apart a little bit. Makes it we would know what it is. It would be something that'd be interesting to people coming from outside.
It's kind of like Kona. That's the course you're going to do it at every year. Doesn't make it bad.
North American, every regional champ should be a trifecta, which leads to the world championship 8 weeks later.
People can train for that, as opposed to be like, oh, there's this
Yeah.
3K thing, there's this 15K thing, there's this
Yeah.
25K thing. It would just be the one thing. Let's just make it the thing.
That thing.
That's the
Rich,
trifecta.
what are all the people? What else are all the people always
Isn't it?
asking?
It's weird, but it's a bunch of people are asking, would you rather do a Hyrox while running backwards or a Deka fit while doing bear crawls for the runs?
Oh, running backwards, easy. I'm not doing 5K bear crawls. Hell no.
Half the duration.
In terms
Bear
of would I
crawls.
rather or would I be better at?
Both.
I'm running
Deka,
backwards.
bear crawl, I think I'd be better at.
If everyone
Hyrox
else has to
backwards
do
would
it,
be so pleasant.
You think it'd be pleasant?
You're mechanically limited,
That's true.
which
It's a
means
long time to go
you're gonna
backwards.
come in fresh. You're gonna have
What's
to put
the
in some
longest-
backwards work.
What's the longest you've gone backwards for? Mine's probably like 20 meters.
I ran a mile backwards for time in college.
While dribbling?
that's
No,
skill.
No, I held it till
That's
the end.
palming if you're doing that.
Yeah, it's cheating.
Yeah.
Throwing it behind your back. Would you run backwards in for a mile?
It's hazy. I don't know.
Probably 8 to 9 minutes. my
Backwards
guess.
beer mile. It was such a beer mile that you started running backwards, and everyone's like,
I
dude.
thought I'd sober up if I did it backwards.
It would
Just
take the beer out of you.
inconclusive.
Yeah. I'm running backwards all day.
It's just so long. Yeah, backwards
You
is
can walk
probably
though
easier.
in case
Backwards
it
is
gets
probably
bad.
easier.
Yeah. You
You
can
have
see
to-
when people
either
are coming
way,
at you.
Either way, you got to put in some time training.
What if it was if it was crab walk versus bear crawl? Then it's a whole
Yeah.
bear
Either way,
crawl.
Dylan's probably winning.
No, he's already ready.
Yeah.
He's
He
locked
doesn't
in.
need any training.
He's already
there.
locked in. Bear crawl, Hyrox, crab walk, Deka.
Oh,
An
That's a
8K
better one.
crawl
That's
or
what they
5K crab walk.
DNF.
People should-
I'd switch sports. I wouldn't do it.
No. Would you rather?
All right. This is almost like that world record barbed wire crawl during the death game or the death race a few years ago. Do you remember that? Someone
Mhm.
did like 11 miles of
Barbed wire?
barbed, like it was hours, like a dozen hours in a row, something insane like that. I'm probably, multiplying it by a couple, but it was like many, many miles of barbed wire crawl.
People are so
You get
stupid,
trench foot.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But all right, I'll do the bear crawl. Triceps are going to go and you're not going to make any forward progress at some point.
Just
You can at least go
slide in.
forward or backwards with your bear crawl if you need to switch on muscle groups.
I saw like some of these influencer types. These influencer types for fitness stuff will do the dumbest shit. Someone did like a 10K sled push, and it took them like 8 hours. They're just doing it for forever. It's like, why? Like, what? I don't even know if that's hard or not.
Should we invite one of those type of people into like our fantasy football league just so they can do the Deka dog? Just some punishment.
Dude, they would
Just
blow it up
expose them
so
a little
much. They'd be
bit.
like, this is
I
this is
know.
my ticket. I'm gonna be famous after I do this Deka dog.
I always leave those watching those because I get sucked in those. I watch the whole reel. And these like when Miraglia did his hardest marathon or whatever it was, hardest mile work. I watched the whole thing.
Like a mile of tire flips and then a mile of
It was a strongman marathon, is what he called
Strongman
it.
marathon, yeah. I start out thinking this is so dumb, and by the end, I'm like, I think they're tougher than me.
That would be something.
Oh, it's
I'd try to
impressive.
do.
Finishing is
Yeah.
the fact because they get to a point where they're just like, this was a bad idea. And then the people that finish it out, I was like, that's really impressive.
Right.
So maybe our YouTube channel should be going around and beating people's times at pointless, useless events to make it irrelevant.
I like it. Let's go after that 10K sled push record. Because
Like
I'm sure
crown
that
chasing.
that's probably in their Instagram bio already. 10K sled push world record holder.
Are we
It was
talking
like when
the
Simmons ran
new
the mile
Hyrox sled?
dribbling.
Yeah.
And every athletic runner is like, I just have to do it so he doesn't have it.
What was his time?
Like you.
He went like 5:18 or 5:20.
What was yours?
I think 4:52.
Let's go.
I was
good.
I was coming off knee surgery.
Was that your sub 5 of the year?
Yeah.
Because I heard you just
That's
extended your
amazing.
streak, Bracken.
Did you get your mile too?
No, I haven't run a sub 5 mile this year.
Oh, I thought you Thought you got it early.
No, but I did dunk
Did
this
that
week.
dunk. You did it
Yeah.
smart.
6 a.m.
Ooh, that should count. That's like an 11
My
foot
leg-
ball. 6 a.m.
Yeah,
as in
My
the mid
legs would not be
30s.
working at that
You know
time.
what's funny? Sometimes you got to get a couple days of jumping. That New Year's Eve when I did it, it took me like 25 attempts,
Dude, don't do that.
and it was just 2 that morning.
It's good.
Wow. So yeah, so you're
Just
ready.
got loose, get the rust off.
That would be the ultimate flex, is to dribble a sub 5 and then go right into a dunk, like dribble
Oh,
the mile
I had a version of
and
that.
dunk it at the end.
In college at indoor conference, I ran, I think like a 155 prelim, and during my cool down dunked.
Let's go.
Because
Oh,
the
I
cool
thought in
down
the
was
next
in the
5
indoor.
seconds you
And
broke
spikes.
2.
No, lunar racers.
Okay.
That was the closest to that. Yeah, but a sub 5 mile into it, I think you'd have to dunk first. I don't think I could dunk at the end of
No,
a sub 5
no,
mile.
you could barely.
Just
not
time it
with
right.
nannies.
Just time it
After a race, when you get like 15 to 20 minutes to recover, you're really loose and you can actually jump for a little bit.
right.
I've like some of my best jumping sessions have been after tempo runs. You get like 8 jumps and you're done, but those 8 are spectacular.
Maybe that's an event a goofy games that we could invent. That's like, we're testing who is the most explosive athlete after doing an endurance endeavor.
Compromise jumping.
Compromise jumping. BK. I mean, this is on brand for you, BK. So we could just like roll this thing out and people be like, this makes sense.
Instead of fading into the night, I'm just going to embarrass myself into the late stages of my career.
Just get booed off of the scene.
So we need the people to ask a lot of questions about, submit what goofy records should we try to go after? 10K sled push. I think we do it.
I'm thinking that crab walk 5K. You're going to be really good at that.
Not crab walk, no.
So my
Bear crawl,
brother,
yes. Crab walk,
my
no.
brother, he showed me some video, and there was a guy who was determined to do a 5K of lunging every single day for a year, and he made it like one day because he was destroyed, obviously.
Yeah, you have to.
And
You'd
it's
have to train for that for like 12 weeks, and then 5K of lunging, dude. What?
Per
That
day.
would be
It was
almost a full-time job early on.
yeah,
Like how long? Like if it takes 100 meters in Hyrox
without a bag.
Oh, without a bag. Well, we'll just say Hyrox without a bag, you do 100 meters. People are doing it around 3 minutes at the highest end. In the event, it's slow, whatever. But if you're doing that that fresh, maybe it's 2:45. 90
You're
seconds.
looking at
2 minutes
50
maybe.
times that long.
90 seconds
if you do it.
Yeah.
Sustainably 4 minutes per 100.
No, it's not
Easily.
sustainable. It's not sustainable.
With no weight.
5K. That's disgusting, though.
What kind
yeah,
of time are we
this-
looking at? So say 4 minutes per.
That's 200 minutes. You're looking at like 3 to 3.5 hours if you can hold that.
What a ridiculous.
Every single
When did that
day.
dude say, how did he claim it? He must have been turnt drunk saying shit like that.
Yeah, I'm gonna have. I'll reach out to Dan and let you know what he says.
Hobie
but
Call would have been the candidate for any lunge walk record.
He did a mile in like 24 minutes.
Austin Azar can lunge his ass off.
Yeah,
He might be.
Hobie had like knee
Jacoby
pads
too.
on and stuff.
Got no problem with that.
Yeah.
All right. A
All right, what else do
lot of people have been
asking?
asking us, like, what are the top 3 races in OCR history in terms of like the best races to watch in OCR history, excluding the fake championship in Abu Dhabi, because I know that's what Jack wants to say right now.
That was exciting.
Top 3. People want to know.
It doesn't have to be world championship. It could be like an NBC race, something like that.
Yeah.
This is really tough. Bracken, if you want to take what honestly, like some of that 15-minute trifecta race world championship coverage in 2019 was so fun to watch. When they have like each race 10 to 15 minutes.
That was the Woods.
Richard
Woods
Hynek year,
Mhm.
when Woods faded, Killian faded, Sergey and Albert Soleil caught up towards the end. That was a very fun year to watch.
I'm going to be biased because if I'm going to watch it, I want to see the whole race. A few good minutes aren't enough. So I'm going to say Jacksonville, I think 2019. When you got that
Kempson?
The silent one? Or is that the Kempson year?
The
2020 was
year.
silent. That was
Okay.
That was 2020.
2020 Jacksonville, you just heard gasping and panting was maybe like the most visceral Spartan race I've ever watched.
That's
You see
amazing.
almost-
That's one of the best that year.
Yeah.
Because that was such a bummer. Remember? It was like, what is this?
Yeah, rewatching everything, things age differently. When you're watching it live, tape delayed versus months later, just to watch something, that Jacksonville goes up on there with greatest race experiences to watch of all time.
I'll have to revisit.
I have
Followed
another.
by Big Bear, Super.
Oh yeah,
Which year? VJ
Jones.
That's a great one.
Paston Atkins.
What a battle!
And don't forget on the women's side, you had Emma and Lindsay reach the spear throw at the same time. They were trading
year,
blows as well. That was so good.
Men's and women's both for
another one. Bracken, I don't know if you were there. I think it was 2017 team race OCR World Championship. It was UK versus North America, where you had Albin, Connor Hancock, and James Appleton. Appleton went last in the obstacle leg, and he had like a 2 to 3 minute leg. And you had Hunter, Atkins, and Killian or Woods on the men's team. And just the effort that Atkins went in to like that was such an exciting. That might be my favorite team race that's been out there. Just the
what was that one? Say that again.
2017 OCR Worlds Canada. The team race on the men's side. I know that Yancey live streamed it because he was getting in trouble for like live streaming it during the race. It's like a 45-minute race, and you go on his Facebook. I'm sure that you can find, search on his posted stuff. He had the whole thing on there. Very, very exciting.
One of my favorites was I know it was just personally biased because was the 2021 maybe Asheville women's race where Annie was beating
against Lindsay
at like the last obstacle. That was just incredibly exciting because we just haven't seen anything like that. And Annie was still emerging. She had a good race in Utah, but was still blown out by Lindsay. But I think she finished second there. And then it was like, oh wow!
And you had a real sprint finish,
legitimate sprint finish,
200 meters.
Yeah,
both sides. Yeah. Asheville and West Virginia that year are both pretty spectacular. They would take my third slots. We just got so much more footage on course of people running fast that year.
That was when
20 and 21 are the two best.
Chris Brown, Batris,
Logan was up there. Mark Audette they were up there. Who ended up?
Oh, you're talking West Virginia? Yeah.
VJ.
Yeah, VJ was.
You said West Virginia, not Asheville. Sorry,
but West Virginia, Woods, Atkins, like that swim was a big changer. Kempson. That
Veerman,
that's a great race. Veerman, yes.
Veerman was in there. Who won? Did Atkins win that race?
Yeah,
I think he did. Yeah,
and Veerman was second or third. I think he was third.
And
then I think Veerman it was Logan and Mark.
Killian or Kent.
That was the year before. That was
year before.
I don't know if Kent was
that's right.
One. That was where Kent. I think he screwed up on the tire.
Yeah,
and a bunch of people screwed up on the swim.
How about that stadium race, Dallas Stadium for Kent versus Killian?
Yeah, that one sucks.
Oh yeah, because you got third and weren't on camera the whole time.
I got dropped and looked bad doing it.
Was that the first year of Ram Burpees or the second year of Ram Burpees?
First year. The first ever race was at Phoenix in 2019 because I was there. And
19,
I was like,
what
the heck is this?
Didn't we do Ram Burpees no, did we not do Ram Burpees at
State Farm? Like my plaque says 2019 State Farm third place. Yeah.
That was the first time I did it. Oh yeah, I guess
first time.
We had the assault bike BK and Jack, you were there too at
Citizens
I was there
in Nationals Park.
I got 10th that year.
At Shea, the new Shea or whatever. What's the Met Stadium now?
City Field.
City. That was, I think, the first time we saw assault bike.
That was destructive.
Okay, you took
Isaiah did it in like 5 seconds, and everyone else just
murdered everybody that race.
I have as much of a list of races that I regret weren't filmed. That one would be on there.
Mm-hmm.
Or filmed better. Some of the Tahoe and Vermont years, better footage would have been great. Or races that cut out in the middle, like Hunter and Killian in Asheville. We didn't get to see as much of it. If we had been able to see more of the Monterey race some years, we just had more back in the day of the live streams. Some of those races would have just been incredible.
I feel like
Vegas back in the day.
It's like they would all be great if it was just like better quality. I feel like that's just like the answer.
I mean, there were some that people just won by 15 minutes, but there were some battles that just no one got to ever see how crazy they were.
And honestly, if you haven't seen Abu Dhabi this year, it was great.
What happened to your audio?
What happened? Is it
Did you
not
knock the
working
dongle
right?
out?
It's a dongle out, but get that dongle back in there.
If you go 19 through 21 coverage, I think that's the sweet spot.
Mm.
You almost can't go wrong with races during that time because they got the majority of it. They switched up the rabbit style. It was really, really good.
That was post NBC, so they kind of figure something out, and they were showing the whole races.
And you're right. We didn't like it at the time. We didn't want that, but it's aging very well.
You get to see what's going on.
Yeah, the more and more I watch, the more I think commentators detract from it in our sport.
You just hate listening to yourself.
Part of it, but like I don't like listening to anyone in the OCR space right now. And it's not necessarily their fault. Like we don't have a template to follow. We end up talking about things that we expect to happen or wish would happen. Commentators, kind of like the Collinsworth thing. They're just deciding, here's what I'm going to talk about today, whether it's happening or not. Like, here's my narrative.
There's space to fill. There's space to fill, and it ends up being like more people are explaining things as opposed to like commenting on what's happening.
Yeah, and because none of us are professionals, like we're really bad at abrupt shifts and just hitting what's happening.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's hard to hear myself talk. It's hard to hear a bunch of these people talk. I find myself upset with the commentators or just like muting it. Just I like the shaky cam, watch the runners, hear them breathe and hit the ground. That's becoming my favorite.
Another one that I think was really good. Do you remember that double loop? Big Bear 2019 was great.
2019. I was trying to give you a thumbs up because your audio is good, but it wasn't popping up on my damn screen.
I thought you said pointed up. Gotcha. But yeah, that was the Johnny Luna Lima year where he just came out, and you had the next day where they had snow and VJ skipped the beast, and they did that double lap short format.
It was the Mountain Series, right? Or no? Yes, it was a Mountain Series.
I believe.
Where is that located? That one,
Aaron Newell,
that double lap's
Ryan
not
Kent.
on my playlist.
I don't know if they did a full.
It could be on Facebook. I watched it. I know.
That's right. There's a lot of Facebook stuff.
Facebook, God.
I just want it all on YouTube.
So stupid. Yeah. But streaming things anywhere but YouTube makes no sense. But
I get why they did it. They had a huge Facebook following for a long time. But when you're trying to track down races for Spartan Race and you don't know if you need to look on there, and even on YouTube, they have some things that aren't curated in their list for that year. Like YouTube, their channel, YouTube Scattered, Facebook, OCR Reports channel. It's just,
you got a playlist?
It's frustrating.
You have one?
I have a playlist. It's not complete.
We should share it with the Patreon.
Yeah.
Patreon peeps.
Yeah.
So they can get to know. Because if anyone spent time putting together a playlist.
I got two messages after we talked about it last time.
People are asking you?
Saying, I have a list I've curated if you're interested in checking it out. People are doing that thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, that Johnny Luna Lima, Utah and Big Bear. I just regret that we didn't have a drone to follow him or a mountain bike down the mountain because you got glimpses of what that man was doing. And I would pay money to like recover the director's cut and find like, where's the footage of Johnny just ripping that we haven't seen? Because the things we did see of him were just mind blowing.
Sonic the Hedgehog looking.
It was hard to understand what was happening because it'd be like, where did he go?
You just see him disappear. You like bound, and then he's gone. And they look away for half a second. He's 50 yards ahead. It was maybe the freakiest running I've ever witnessed in OCR.
Yeah, I think that's fair because that is true. Like that, it didn't quite capture how
at the end of the race. I forgot if it was Utah or Big Bear. But he does like one last little climb, turns around. They're 2 hours some into this race of him destroying his body. And then he just bounds and leaps down this next section. And I thought, I've been at the end of so many races and never once have I thought, I bet I could pull that off. He's just like on a level that I'd never seen before.
Yeah.
All right. People have been asking. A lot of people have been asking us, where are we at with Maud? Have things changed with Maud? Early episode like 3, I think 2 or 3, I think.
I think the sport has changed. I think that the importance of Maud has not dropped off, but the emphasis on Maud has changed a little bit. And Rich, we talked about this recently. We've had some athletes. You talked about VJ talking about it. And the very next day I had someone else talk to me about the same concept that like compromised running or Maud is not as important as people thought it was.
So it's a myth, not even
VJ
real.
Went on a rant about that recently. Yeah.
So
yeah, and I don't agree. But what I do think is that it's a skill. And early on, we watched VJ struggle with compromised running. The very first Warrior Dash, we saw him struggle with it. And then he mastered it.
Was he like 12?
He was like 17,
Oh.
15 maybe. It doesn't matter. Like, it is a real thing to everyone until it's no longer an issue. And then it's a strength. And then racing semi-frequently is enough to stay really good at it. And then it becomes the opposite. Pretty soon the things aren't compromising you anymore. They're letting you recover your running for the next round. So it's a thing, and it matters as much as it ever has. But the good people, the top athletes, have started to master it.
And last episode, Bracken, you were kind of saying that it doesn't matter what your marathon pace is or whatever. If you're you can run a sub 5 for your marathon or sub 7, like you're kind of never going to go faster than that at that point. So I feel like the spread on your mod isn't as big, but I do feel like it's still a pretty important skill, especially in hybrid.
Yeah, and I think you look at someone like VJ who can run faster than his marathon pace during a super or a beast, but he's still not running sub 5 for extended periods of time.
Mm-hmm.
And then you look at someone who can run slower than their marathon pace because their marathon pace is 450, and they're still not running faster than sub 5. Like that 5 to 520 seems to be the upper limit for 99.9% of OCR athletes, even at the highest level. It's just, how long does it take to get to that point where you can run without cost there? So it can't be a myth if it affected you even once.
It's hard to say that it doesn't exist, right? And a skill is an interesting way to put it, especially with like, we talked about like the neuromuscular aspect of it, and being able to develop a little like the skill around it, getting back to running and like mechanically being sound, as opposed to becoming so fatigued you become like uncoordinated, more or less.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that leans into the skill. But the maximum available under duress it's got to be something.
It's always there.
Came up with it. It's real.
Even if you eventually have all of it available under duress, then your mod score is perfect. It's not that it doesn't exist anymore. It's like you beat mod.
You just have the best mod.
Yeah.
Except we still don't. Like even VJ, for example, had a very good first Hyrox, right?
Mm-hmm.
Did his running ever suffer?
Mm-hmm.
So,
pretty sure.
So a compromised running exists.
Right.
If it didn't exist, he would have run great all the way through. So it's always a thing. Just its importance to you as an athlete fades as you get really, really good at it. Like Nicole Miracle, who allegedly does not train compromised running ever.
Doesn't believe in it.
Very early on, she was affected by it in the second half of races. Now, not so much. She's raised her individual ceiling so high that it affects her less. Things take less out of her, but she's also she has gotten better at doing it. Part of it's neuromuscular. Part of it's just mentally knowing that this feeling isn't fully as real as it would be on the track or the roads. But either way, it's a skill.
We still back mod.
We wear mod across our chest.
Real. Yeah.
That's how we roll. Got it right there.
There it is.
Yeah.
Guys, I got a lot of people been asking. I got this new cactus.
Mm.
What should we name it? There's 3 little cactus. Oh, that was the first question people were asking. Bracken, what's Kirk's middle name?
Oh, isn't it Alan?
No.
I was making up a thing just to see if Bracken would agree.
Do you know it? Like, is this something?
It starts with a D, and I'm blanking now.
Not Daniel.
Douglas.
No.
I thought it's Douglas.
KDD.
This is really bad. Yeah, he's KDD, but I'm blanking on what the D stands for. Because I'm a D as well. I'm BDK.
BDK.
What does the D stand for?
Who knows?
Dumb, because you don't know your friend's middle name.
Got him.
I'm not going to recover.
I have it. I have it. White pages.
You found it
Take
like
one
that?
more guess, Bracken. What is it?
Dwight.
Rich?
I don't know.
Donald.
I like that. That's a great one. So I'm thinking there's 3 little cacti in there. I'm thinking about naming it Kirk, Donald, DeWint. Like 3. No, like one's a Kirk.
Because you think he's a prick?
Oh, Jack.
Got him. Jack's
hey, he's in a cactus
fire
thing.
right now. He's rolling. All right.
Just
One of
like
them's
30
Kirk,
million
Donald, and
rolls.
the back one's DeWint.
Yeah.
People have been asking. They've been asking about the cactus.
So that's
All right.
real.
That's a real cactus. Yeah, we're gonna see. I want it there, so that over
We're in a
time
good
we can
arid
see
climate.
Yeah, we need cactuses. That's what's going to exist over here.
Less water is a good plant here.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
We'll measure it against the batons over time.
Yeah, exactly. We'll see
Yeah.
which one grows better, Kirk, Donald, or DeWint. Which one's going to be?
Audrey used to have. Actually, she has several plants, but one of them was a Venus flytrap, and she called it Veenie. So just add an e at the end of it, and whatever the first syllable is. So that's her naming structure. If she has a phone, it's phony. If she has a car, it's Kari. Like, just
seems
pretty,
like pretty
lame.
Pretty basic. It's like,
yeah.
3-4 year
All
old
children name things.
Our vacuum, however, I named it Count Vacula.
That's pretty
it
good.
Sucks crud instead of sucks blood.
I like it. We get multi layers.
We gave it a cape. Everything. It's great.
Josh Reed used to call his treadmill Treddy Roosevelt.
Oh, that's good.
Too.
Nice.
People are asking. All right. Would you rather go into a battle with a laser pistol or with a wall ball?
Laser pistol.
Yeah, easily.
You can pistol whip people.
Wall ball
At
compresses.
least he can hurt. Yeah. It's big though. Wall ball, you can hit no side. Maybe put a wall ball on like the end of a chain, whip it around.
I feel like if you come out with a laser pistol,
it would hurt.
Someone's gonna think it's a real gun, and they'll
you're gonna
probably be a little afraid.
They're gonna shoot you.
What, are you gonna throw a little 20-pound ball at them?
I thought you were gonna say spear.
Well, the spear's the correct answer. You can actually hurt somebody with that.
You can hurt someone with a pistol.
You'd have to throw it at them the same way that you'd hurt them.
I think you use it. You just punch, but using the stock, the butt, I should say, the butt of the pistol.
All right,
gotta get close range. Gotta get close range.
A Deka
you
ram.
want to be close
or
range
a
with the spear too.
A ram's not
Spear
bad. A
would be
ram's
a
probably a better
thrusting,
one.
Not a throw.
Spear would be way easier. Just hit them like that.
They were literally used to kill animals back in the day, and people.
I'm sure it's killed some people for sure. But a ram, that's a better one.
Ram's a
laser
good one.
pistol or a ram.
I think I could get a spear out of your hands easier than I could get the laser pistol out of your hand, though.
Yeah, but you could just what if they have a spear? Then
that wasn't the question.
If someone had a spear and you had a laser pistol, like they're gonna be like bang.
That's the only way I would want wall ball or ram is if the other person had to fight with the same thing. Otherwise, the ram would be utterly useless.
It's too heavy.
Yeah.
Even
though
though
like 22,
3 reps.
22 still like a little bit.
The
too
11-pound kid ones, you could do that.
Could be like a decent.
If you were
shield.
coming up behind a distracted enemy, the ram might be what I choose.
And even still, like, how do you hit to swing that thing? Like it's like
Just
rubber.
base of the neck.
That'd be like ow.
Women's kettlebell.
That's probably
Kettlebell or dumbbell. Which would you rather?
Kettle.
Kettlebell easy.
Like a 12
Full
pounder or
handle.
something light.
Oh yeah.
Really whack.
I'd probably take the rope out of a skier and use it as a rope.
You just use the skier contraption.
I'd carry it up a mountain. And then I'd fight a battle out there.
Yeah.
We should that's the next one. We should do a ski mountaineering holding a ski erg, get to the top of the mountain, and then have the ski erg a 10K, and then a ski down with it.
Ski down with the skier.
Ski down
on
with
the
platform.
Yeah.
I think that's kind of it. I mean, that's what people have been asking. There's a lot of people have been asking about a lot of stuff, and I'm glad that we were able to get to this. We can clear the queue of these questions.
I have a question for you. I'm interested in the specifics of this sled push 10K.
Okay.
What was the weight? What was the surface?
Surface matters way more than the weight.
Because if we could just get on a turf field and do 100-meter reps,
you're out of your mind.
Why am I out of my
10K
mind?
Bracken?
You would prefer to do it on concrete?
I'd prefer to not go 10 kilometers with a sled.
Listen, we are bound by honor to beat this person's time. This isn't about want.
It was a team too, I believe.
That was a team.
Okay,
We'll show them what mod is all about.
Weight, surface, and what are the team requirements? Size, gender.
Let's pull this up. We don't need to give the.
Is it by Dustin and Nate on Mountain Tough Fitness? Okay, well, the video's 10 hours and 38 minutes long, so that's clearly
Oh, it's a push-pull.
Push pull, and that makes it better.
Doesn't look heavy.
It's like a prowler.
What do you want him to have? 400 pounds on it for a 10K?
I think that either way, it's going to turn into a cardiovascular competition. So if it's light, yeah, it helps us.
I like the push and pull. The push would just kind of wreck my calves, my feet. And digging, I don't know. It doesn't look heavy. That's a prowler too. It's a little bit easier to push. All right, we're gonna have to watch this video.
10 hours.
There's nothing in the comments about
Oh shoot, yeah. Let me see.
About
if they're asking any questions.
Wait.
Yeah, genuinely curious. Where did this come from?
Got a little hunting action. Not a ton of comments. Here. Let me see if the 10,000 made up. Did you see one?
He's just saying where it came from, but no, I don't know what the
Probably get more.
Are they 10,000 athletes?
I don't know. They got posted
it's a sponsored post.
Yeah, it's on there. This is what they want.
I would want some comfortable shorts
that I got from a 10,000 athlete.
This reminds me of our 5K sandbag carry. No,
if you're
gonna
nothing
close.
If you're going to do anything like this, you should definitely wear 10,000 if you're going to do it. Because, I mean, it'll hold up. You'll be cozy the whole time. I don't know, man. I can't really find out.
They made a mistake by not wearing trail shoes.
Oh, there's Michael. Right
you think so?
On the right.
Yeah, I think grip matters. And I think a little bit of drop would help over the course of this thing.
So this is like 180 pounds on a prowler. They got this 2.5 on there for some reason. That's not that much, I don't think. I mean, prowlers had the 3 points of contact, so those things slide. That looks like turf.
I mean, if that video is 10.5 hours, like if that was their actual completion time, and we're complaining about 8 hours for Saudi Arabia being too much, I don't think 10 hours of sled push and pull is going to be fun.
Wait, go back. He's in
922.
He's got good footwear.
He's
in Speedlands.
So you think trail shoes are the move here? Why is that?
On turf, any amount of slipping you're doing, every single bit of stabilizer you have to engage, if you have to clench hamstrings at all, I think you want your shoe to stick. I would go so far as to wear cleats or like VJ spiked shoes, because I don't want to have to engage anything over the course of hours that you don't want to. Like picture running in the snow. Every little slide you have, you want, I think traction's everything here.
So if they're doing 15 meters out and back, that's 30 meters, and they split it up in half. So it's a 5K each. That's 166 pushes and pulls total.
Did they split it up?
I don't know if they split it up or they just did it together. No, it looks like they did it together.
Was it combined for 10K though?
Let's count
365 laps needed. Okay, I must have misread the distance on each then.
So you got 12 per...
There's 12 down. 4, yeah, 12. 12 and 6.
6.
Jackie, doing this math? You got your time calculator out?
Oh, yeah, time calculator. 10,000 divided by 365 laps is 27.4. So basically 13.5 out, 13.5 back. So like they had a 40-foot track, 45 feet.
It says 365 laps needed.
Yeah.
I feel like this took too long. I think we'd smash this.
I think they each did it.
They each did it, yeah.
Yeah.
9 hours, like mile per hour. Like that's like how miles per hour for
like
that.
An hour and a half per mile.
Yeah, you're doing like 0.5 miles an hour.
6 miles an hour, yeah.
I mean, it's not
fatigue's gonna be real. Yeah. That's pretty nasty. I'm not signing up.
But that's the thing. Is it nasty, or is it the only time anyone would ever do it? Record.
Both. Yeah.
It says liked by Meg Jacoby, so it's legit.
She liked that? Oh. Did I like it? I definitely didn't.
It's
and
not
I'm
red.
not gonna.
I'm
out. All right. Let's speaking of too goofy, this episode's gone on long enough. We have
No. Before we move on.
Okay.
We need to find out exactly the weight and the length, and we need to do a dry run.
It looked like 180 pounds on a prowler.
We'll figure that out later.
I'm not saying right now, but I think we should just do one, just like a 60-minute AMRAP at intended goal pace or effort. and then report back and say, is this doable?
Yeah.
We watch the video, then we set one up and just see what happens. I think you come down from altitude for this, Rich.
You think that's going to matter? What if you don't think it'll slide better at altitude?
Under air? Yeah. Indoor versus outdoor probably matters.
I'm looking right now. They're going simultaneously.
Humidity will be a problem. I think that would pose an issue for a
I didn't necessarily mean here.
Somewhere drier. We can go out to California for this. And there's a gym. There's got to be a gym in SoCal we could hit for that. I'm sure people will love it.
Although maybe 5,000 feet is fine.
Wear
the mud shirt.
Yeah. All day.
I'm looking at this.
Now, but I'm going to do a time trial.
They have 245s on each side. They're pushing them in parallel. They're switching up like close, the push press versus arms extended, like different strategies. They're taking breaks, but you can just see the respiration rate. This is a pretty taxing thing. And they're just doing it in the middle of a turf field at a gym. So whoever was there probably was like, these guys just haven't stopped.
I bet they stopped. If it was 9.5 hours, they probably stopped.
I know. Well, it was probably, 30-minute break.
Well, and I think that's the key here. I think you work out your work to rest ratio and you don't take big breaks.
You're going slow enough that you could eat full sandwiches. It'll be fine.
Yeah. I'm using dense nutrition drinking.
Or we could just drink beer. We just get turned during this thing. See how it goes. Every one of these blocks. Wait, so what does this mean, these blocks? So what does this mean for the length of it? Jack,
that's 365 each.
Each of those looks like 60 per block.
Blocks is 60, except for the last one.
And Jack said there are 40-some meters?
Yeah. No, it would have been...
Feet, 40-some feet.
27.4 meters.
And you think that's for the push and the... It has to be
then you divide it by pull. Then you divide it by 2. So it's really like 12 to 15 meters out and then 12 to 15 meters out and back, basically.
That makes sense.
I think I'm using speed goats for this.
I like the Zanals for it. I like the little...
Yeah.
Speed goats might be nice, though.
The fives have those little micro grips along the edge of each.
RC Elites, what's wrong with them?
That's true. If you could stay in stiff shoes for that amount of time.
I guess that's true.
We should have ended this 10 minutes ago.
Hour.
You're swapping shoes?
Oh, yeah.
Every hour?
Oh, yeah. Probably socks.
So we got to get some more dry. Some more dry,
and
not
cold.
Too humid. Well, you got that cold on lock.
All right, I'm done.
Good work.
Hey, this is top 5 episode. People are asking what's a top 5 episode. I'm gonna say this one.
This
easily this one.
Got some excitement coming up. It's starting to race pretty soon, so
we have, I believe,
real confidence.
Manchester for Hyrox coming up. Vienna is in 3 weekends. Jacksonville's sooner than
same exact weekend as Tough Mudder Saudi Arabia.
And that's what weekend?
The 24th or 25th, whatever that.
February 20th. So about a month, and then things are going to start ramping up.
Mm-hmm. So Jack's and heavy.
Jack's been working on an episode topic for 7 weeks now. Trying to every week. I was like, "Hey, we doing this?"
Yeah, I got sick. I've been out of town. Had mouth surgery. It's been busy, but I'm very close to being done. It's gonna be a cool topic.
We're gonna roll that out. So we actually have stuff to talk about. Yeah, we have Hyrox Manchester, Hyrox Turin, and then Vienna. And then OCR starts to get back in action. So we got stuff to talk about soon.
It's happening.
All right, squad. Thanks for checking us out. I'll talk to you later.